Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and this is the channel where I went to business school so you didn't need to, and today we are talking about Sofi Technologies' SOFI share price. In this video, we will be analyzing their latest news updates as well as their most recent price targets so we can project where this company is headed in their future, both fundamentally and their overall share price. We will be analyzing 3 articles today, where the first one is titled, "Sofi is suing the Biden administration to try to avoid tens of millions in losses." So I'll be providing you with the latest news updates regarding this story. After that, we're going to be going over and analyzing another article regarding 4 main factors and reasons why the student loan repayment pause could be extended again potentially, which would act as a negative catalyst for Sofi Technologies. So we'll be going over the pros and cons for these various reasons. After that, we'll be analyzing an article titled, "Sofi Stock may be in for yet another spike." So this author believes that the Sofi share price could absolutely explode based off of some minor catalysts, which we will dive into. So for more stock market news updates on Sofi Technologies, go and annihilate that like button right now. Comment your thoughts down below about where you think the future share price of Sofi stock is headed in the future. Tell me if you think the student loan moratorium will be extended, or if the Biden administration's student loan forgiveness will be going through, and how you think this will impact Sofi Technologies either positively or negatively. And don't forget to subscribe for more Sofi stock videos just like this one. And without further ado, let's jump right into today's stories. You're probably familiar with Sofi, which is a fintech company or a financial technology company that offers their consumers an all-in-one inclusive digital app which gives their consumers easy access to various financial services and financial products. Recently, Sofi Technologies has been in the news due to the student loan moratorium, which has been enacted for roughly 3 years. The student loan moratorium, if you're not familiar with it, essentially put a student loan payment pause on federal student loans. So if you took out student loans federally to pay for education, right now those loans are not accruing interest and you don't have to pay on them as of right now. The reason this is bad for Sofi Technologies is because Sofi Technologies gets a large portion of their revenues from refinancing student loans. So this isn't good news for Sofi Technologies, and to add more fuel to the flame, we know that Sofi is running out of patience with the Biden administration, considering that the Biden administration is also trying to forgive $10,000 to $20,000 worth of student loan debt through a forgiveness plan. But again, this is going to reflect very negatively on Sofi Technologies. So let's dive in to see how long the student loan moratorium could be in place and if the student loan forgiveness plan will actually go through. If you didn't know, in the past week, Sofi is actually suing the Biden administration, where they requested the federal courts to reverse the Biden administration's decision to extend the student loan moratorium for the 8th time. And here's why this is very good news and somewhat bad news for Sofi Technologies. First off, the student loan moratorium was enacted back in 2020 in response to the illness that was widespread and because there was unprecedented economic shutdowns. So clearly people wouldn't be able to pay on this debt if they weren't going to work or if they were furloughed from their jobs. Therefore, I thought it was actually originally a very good thing to have the student loan moratorium in place. But it was scheduled to end by the beginning of this year. However, clearly that hasn't happened. And on top of that, the Biden administration is planning to forgive as much as $20,000 worth of student loan debt to certain borrowers. The problem with the student loan debt is that the Supreme Court is actually expected to rule on this matter pretty soon. And whether or not this rules in Sofi Technologies' favor or not, this is going to impact their stock price one way or another. I personally believe that if you signed up to take out student loans, then you should be required to pay back those student loans, and you shouldn't be relying on taxpayers or other people who have not signed that contract. I myself have around $60,000 worth of student loans from going to business school and getting my various degrees. However, I don't want to put that debt on anyone else besides myself, considering I'm the one that signed the student loan contract. Not to mention that student loan refinancing used to be one of Sofi's largest lending businesses. And since the student loan moratorium, those originations for student loan refinancing has plummeted, costing Sofi millions of dollars, which we will talk about later in this article. Just due to the most recent student loan moratorium extension, it has cost Sofi Technologies roughly between $6 to $7 million worth of profit, and it could lead to $30 million of lost profits for this overall overall company if the student loan moratorium continues until August. Since the moratorium was originally enacted, SoFi claims that they have lost around $150 to $200 million worth of profits. So it's no wonder why SoFi Technologies is trying to sue the Biden administration to have the student loan moratorium end as soon as possible. Currently, Sofi Stock is trading for around $5.79, while many investors believe this company could surge up to around $10, as long as the three business segments within SoFi Technologies are operating at full capacity, and clearly right now they are not, due to the student loan moratorium. Now, for my personal price target on Sofi Stock, I would say the company should be worth between $7 to $10 depending on how you value the company, whether or not you value this company as a technology growth company, or if you value this company more as a legacy bank. But even putting that aside, it does seem that the current share price is somewhat undervalued according to their future projections, which we will talk about later. So this then begs the question, why is SoFi going to the extent of suing the Biden administration? Well, first off, the longer the student loan moratorium goes on, and if it could be extended again, this is hammering their overall share price, costing the company millions of dollars. And right now, the stock market really needs some positive news from SoFi Technologies so this growth stock continues to grow. Another extension of the student loan moratorium could be catastrophic for the SoFi share price, causing the company to drop below or around $4 per share. And if you are currently an investor of SoFi Technologies, clearly you do not want that. So now let's talk about 4 reasons why the student loan moratorium could be extended yet again, and my thoughts on this various evidence that the author is putting forth. Clearly, just because SoFi is in the news regarding potential extensions of the student loan moratorium and how the Supreme Court is currently leading on the Biden administration forgiveness plan for student loans, this has caused SoFi Technologies to drop by around 8.29% as of right now. The author highlights, and he says, and I quote, "Payments are set to resume 60 days after the Supreme Court's decision if the court rules in the Biden administration's favor. If the debt relief program is shot down or pushed past June 30th, 2023, student loan payments are slated to resume 60 days after that," end quote. So I really hope this works out in SoFi Technologies' favor. However, there are 4 main factors that could lead either to the student loan forgiveness plan going through or an extension of the student loan moratorium. And here are the 4 factors that you need to be aware of. There is something called the Major Rules Doctrine. And this doctrine is intended to limit the power of government agencies to make important decisions. So if the Biden administration goes through the correct channels, they could actually either implement a student loan moratorium extension or their forgiveness plan, which would not bode well for SoFi Technologies nor their SoFi stock price. The SoFi share price is also in a very exposed predicament due to the HEROES Act. And essentially, Biden's student loan forgiveness plan uses the HEROES Act of 2003, to where this act enables the power to the various branches of government to enact various laws due to either unforeseen events, war, or national emergency. And in this case, the national emergency would be the illness that was so prevalent back in 2020 and even is prevalent today. However, the problem with this is that this quote-unquote national emergency is due to end on May 11th, 2023. So, the HEROES Act will not be much help to the Biden administration after this date, especially if they're trying to use this act to gain authority to cancel student loan debt under the HEROES Act. So, the Biden administration needs to act before May 11th, and according to the Supreme Court, this decision may not be made by then. So that means that investors really don't have to worry about this particular act. But what about some legal challenges? SoFi asserts that the 8th extension of the student loan moratorium is, quote, "not in accordance with the law, is without observance of procedure required by law, is arbitrary and capricious, and is invalid," end quote. And that is a quote directly from their court filing in which they are suing the Biden administration. Now, the good thing about this is that SoFi suing the Biden administration could actually lead to other lenders, particularly student loan refinancers, also following suit and suing the Biden administration, thus furthering and strengthening SoFi's overall case in this instance. Ideally, we would aim for both of these things being taken down, but honestly, I'll take one or the other. So why does our last author believe that the SoFi share price could actually spike and is primed for another surge. Well, he says that this surge could be due to a rebound in which that the SoFi stock as of late has been beaten down by macroeconomic uncertainties such as inflation and rising interest rates. However, this author believes the company is undervalued, and because it's being suppressed right now, it's only a matter of time that once this ambiguity is all cleared up, the SoFi share price could surge yet again. So let's see what evidence he highlights for this particular statement. Right out of the gate, he highlights that SoFi is catching flack for its latest move. Essentially, SoFi even filing lawsuits against the Biden administration does not look very good on SoFi Technologies from a public relations or PR standpoint. Basically, people who have student loan debt do not want SoFi to win in court, and it's giving them very negative marketing among the younger generations. However, with that being said, I do think that SoFi Technologies is doing the right thing. They are trying to save their business. They are missing out on hundreds of millions of dollars worth of profits due to these very odd student loan moratorium extensions and student loan forgiveness plans. However, if SoFi ends up winning in court, this could cause the SoFi share price to ignite and surge upwards, which is clearly what I personally want because this company makes up around 4% of my portfolio. Anything more than 4% I would say is a too heavy exposure to this company, and that would not be practicing proper risk management. There are so many other companies that I have in my portfolio, and it's extremely risky to overallocate yourself just to one singular company. So always make sure you personally are practicing proper risk management as well, and make sure to do your own research. I also want to highlight that SoFi's current revenue forecasts and earnings results for 2023 have already been factored in to where they are relying upon the student loan moratorium ending. If the student loan moratorium was extended again, this would drastically cause their management to reiterate their overall guidance, which again would cause the overall share price to absolutely dump, which is not good. However, the opposite can also be true. If SoFi Technologies wins in court and the student loan forgiveness is taken down, this could cause a positive reiteration from management of even better future guidance for their revenues, sales, and earnings per share that they could bring in. This could jumpstart SoFi's legacy business of refinancing student loans and also enable SoFi Technologies to reach GAAP profitability earlier during Q4 of 2023, which would also cause the overall shares to increase because this would be a huge win for investors. Better yet, many analysts that are currently giving predictions are not accounting for the synergies which could be attained from SoFi's cross-selling and upselling business model once the student loan moratorium eventually ends. We know this is not going to be permanent. It's just a matter of time of when this catalyst will take place and how it's going to impact SoFi stock either for the positive or the negative. So essentially, once the student loan moratorium ends, whenever that's going to be, once these student loan payments resume and people start to refinance their student loans with SoFi Technologies, SoFi will take this as an opportunity to sell these consumers other products such as credit cards, debit cards, checking accounts, savings accounts, investing tools and platforms, as well as many other things, which will cause their overall revenues to increase. Right now, the best move for SoFi share investors is to constantly be in the news. Now, depending on what type of investor you are, for instance, if you are a short-term investor, the best thing to do right now is just to wait until this ambiguity is over. There's no sense in gambling because you are an investor. You don't want to gamble that they are going to win or lose this overall court case. However, for long-term investors, the cheaper the stock price gets despite this negative news, the better it's going to be for you in the long term. Because the cheaper you can buy the stock today, the more gains that will lead to once the stock inevitably bounces back. Another thing that investors need to keep in mind is the macroeconomic economy right now is not very good for growth stocks such as SoFi Technologies. According to the latest remarks from the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, regarding interest rate hikes, clearly we are not out of the woods yet in terms of interest rate hikes and inflation, which is going to weigh heavily on growth stocks such as SoFi Technology. The great catalyst that I think could send SoFi share prices higher is them becoming GAAP profitable at the end of 2023. And according to current forecasts, they could maintain this profitability over the long term. So clearly, keep your eye on SoFi stock, be up to date on the latest news updates. I would love to hear your thoughts down below about what you think about SoFi, where you think the share price is headed in the future. And as always, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next YT video.